Megan, congrats on It Lives Inside. And I really enjoyed the movie. And what I really liked was, and what really felt fresh about this was getting that infusion of Hindu mythology with horror. Can you speak just how intriguing it was for you to see Pishach, as the focus here rather than some other type of demon or, creature?
Hi. Yeah, no, I mean, so for me, hearing about the Pishach really was the first time I'd ever heard about it was on the script. So it was just as new and exciting to me as it will be for most audience members who aren't familiar with the tale. So that was really exciting, delving into that and hearing Bishul, who is our writer and director, his stories and his personal stories revolving around that and the fear that it generated. But I'm really excited. I think that what's exciting about cinema, I think right now, with the sort of influx of everything else, are our original creative stories. And so I'm really grateful and excited to be a part of something like this.
Yeah, that's interesting because after I'd never heard of it either. So after seeing the film, you kind of go into the Google rabbit hole of just looking up different things. How was that process for you, just learning more about the Pashach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a total nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff too. So I'm glad that we are the same. It was just as exciting. Even just I mean, it's really frightening actually the stories that are told and how in a large part of India this is something that people really do believe is real. So there's always, and I think personally for me, even growing up, I didn't necessarily have, I wasn't told stories of the Pishach, but a way that my dad forced us to go to sleep as children was like, if you don't go to sleep, this monster is going to come and get you. So it feels very culturally tied to a very real point in time for, I think, a lot of people's lives. So I hope that that fear and that terror rings and finds its way to the audience.
Yeah, speaking of terror, how was it actually filming those scenes with the Pashach? Because you look totally terrified. You really nailed that feeling of dread throughout the film.
Dude, thank you so much for saying that. It's funny because I'm a horror fan, and so and this is my first horror experience, so I feel like I've always dreamt about what it would be like as an actor doing this stuff, and then you get to set, and it's very technical, and there was a whole sort of beautifully crafted suit that our incredible actress who is inside of it doing all these crazy contortions. Her name's Janaea Ross, and she's an incredibly talented artist and contortionist. It was definitely a challenge because on screen it looks terrifying, but when you take off the head, it's this really adorable Canadian tall woman in it who speaks like so sweetly and kindly and would never even hurt a fly, and who became a friend. So it's really a challenge, but it was fun. It was really fun, and to have Bishul off camera directing me and giving me the reassurance that I was doing okay was, I think, all that was needed for me to get through it.
And one of the other elements I like about this film was your characters in school, and we kind of explore this aspect of dual identities and just embracing her heritage that she was kind of trying to shy away from. Can you speak to that aspect in the film? Because I thought that was one of the more interesting things we don't see as much in horror.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that you picked up onto that. It is Sam and Smeether are definitely two very different people, and they're two different personas. So yeah, I think that this was one of those things that Bishul and I pretty from the get-go connected on and understood that experience of kind of like code switching in a way, and how do you go about into the real world and feel like you can assimilate and you can be normal and coming home to a completely different experience. And so for me as an actor, but also on a personal level, it was very exciting to re-experience those feelings, relive some of those feelings, and also navigate through those feelings by doing it on screen again.
And you've mentioned Bishop a few times. What really stood out about working together as collaborators and creatives on this project? What really stood out as him as a director?
You actually just said it. I think that Bishul and myself, the number one thing that's been so different from sort of some of the other projects that I've done is that it really felt like a true collaboration. He was so involved in each step of the process. We had so many extensive conversations about Sam, about Samita, about her relationships with everyone in the movie, what it all means. And so it felt less like a role that I just booked and more of a role that we both created and recreated from the ground up and continue to do so each day on set.
That's incredible. And you share some great scenes with Mohana throughout the movie. Can you speak to just her as a scene partner?
My goodness, I'm so glad you brought up Mohana Krishnan. She is, first of all, we are real friends in real life, and she really every single day. I mean, she had some very intense scenes, so she was often just in a corner listening to music right before they called action, and understandably so. But she's all that you can ask for in a scene partner. She shows up, she works incredibly hard, she's so devoted to her character, so devoted to every part of this filmmaking process. And not to mention her scream. When I heard her scream on day 2 of filming, I knew that this was no joke. Like, I knew that I had to bring my A game when it came to my screams. I don't live up to Mohana's screams, but I think in a way we motivated each other. She certainly motivated me to bring my acting A game. And I'm so excited for people to see her work. I think she's absolutely incredible.
You mentioned this being your first horror project. Do you kind of have the bug now? Do you want to work more within this space in the future?
Absolutely. But I've had the bug before I got it. I'm just so grateful that I was able to sort of get that energy out and like finally do it. But absolutely. And maybe that'll be in the hopes of an It Lives Inside 2 or something else. But yeah, I hope this is just the beginning of my horror adventure.
And it's also great to see this getting such a wide release and seeing such representation in horror. Can you just speak to just seeing this on screen? Because I'm sure, a decade ago, you would have been so ecstatic to see a film like It Lives Inside, in theaters.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been working for over a decade, so this feels very full circle, but also very surreal. I'm so incredibly grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that Neon really believes in this project and really wanted to push it to have a wide theatrical release. Not a lot of movies, especially during this time, get that. So it's definitely a moment, and I'm so excited. I'm nervous. I'm feeling all the feelings, and yeah, I just hope that audiences enjoy it and they take away something from it.
And then my last question for you, as you mentioned, Neon's all behind this. They got the interim agreement, so you can actually speak about it. How much does it mean for you that they're showing that support and that you do get to actually promote this film that you put so much energy and time into?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I stand with my union and with WGA. So as much as I would have wanted to publicize and promote this project, I know what the bigger picture was, but I'm so grateful that we have production companies like Neon that are doing the right thing and that make these moments for myself, and for Mohana and for Gage and for everyone else involved in this project, with Bishul, that we are able to, talk about these sort of career milestones in a way that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. So it's definitely a weird time, and I'm hoping that it ends soon for everyone affected by these strikes. But it's a little bit of a bittersweet moment for sure.